Hello everybody, how's it going? And welcome to our second monthly Chroma Bloom and Blight development update. Yes, I want to do this at the end of every month. It is today the last of September, so that counts at the end of the month, right? But yeah, so I have a list of things I want to show you. I want to show you the progress we have made with the game. I want to show you what has happened, how far we have come already, and then kind of what our plans are for the future. So that's the plan. Now, I do not have my suit on right now because I don't feel like putting on my suit. So you're just going to have to deal with that, but that's all right. So here we go. Look at it. Look at this. I even made a presentation. How great is that? So let's get started. So this is the Chroma Bloom and Blight September update. If you are not too familiar with the basic idea behind Chroma Bloom and Blight, then you can go and watch the August update, in which I kind of like give the pitch and explain what the game is supposed to do, or supposed to be. But let's get into it then. All right, cool. So first I want to kind of talk about some general things, which are some monetization changes and the search for investors. The first thing with monetization changes, I saw that there's some other card games coming out, and to keep up with the times, I really felt like we needed to adjust. Actually, no, we're not doing any of that fucking shit. Oh my god. Can people just stop selling pay-to-win packs? Oh my god. So there's nothing changing. We're not selling packs. Shit's gonna be free. No pay-to-win. Not here. Oh my god. I'm so done with it. I am so done with these shitty games needing to pay to win their way through everything. We're not gonna do that. Shit's still free. And it's gonna stay free, okay? Good. Alright, cool. I just felt like I needed to say that. Just felt like I needed to say that, because frankly speaking, that just needed to come out there. Alright? Great. Then secondly, the search for investors. So, for Chroma, Bloom and Blight, of course, I am investing a pretty good chunk of my own money, right? 70,000 euros. That's what I've settled on, which is really, I started at 50 and I went to 60 and now I'm at 70, but I'm not going above 70. So I'm spending 70,000 euros of my savings, which is a very large portion of it to try and make this happen. But in my journey to try and make this happen, of course, I've also been looking for other people that are interested in investing money into it. Now, in that regard, currently, I would say that that search has been very fruitful, and there has been some movement, actually a pretty good amount of movement, but it's not on paper yet. So I'm not going to make any announcements. I just want to say we want to I just wanted to say that, hey, things are happening in that way. I will let you know more details as soon as they are on paper, hopefully by the next update. Now, once these changes are on paper, once these investments are on paper and are confirmed, there are two things that I want to do. First, I want to hire an additional 2D artist. Currently, we have 3 2D artists. I would like a 4th. I think a 4th one would really just kind of help us have a bit more freedom while doing things. Now, a 4th one isn't necessary, and we will be able to actually do everything we want to do with 3, but a 4th one would just give us more time for all of the artwork, meaning we can put a bit more effort into them, and also a bit more flexibility with what we can do with artwork, which I think would be great. And then also, once they are on paper, currently the plan was actually to do a Kickstarter in February. But I would like to push that back to April. Now, April, I think is a really good month for Kickstarters. Actually, that's just Kickstarters. It's just a good month for Kickstarters in general. And it also allows us to create a better product in that until then. So that's what I would like to do. But that's, again, something that depends on getting all of those current potential investments on paper. If, of course, you are interested in investing yourself, I am happy to give you more information also regarding, these other investments, because I think that would be relevant to you. But it's a good chunk of money. Like, so I'm actually feeling pretty good about it. So if you are interested, please feel free to send me an email at baumi@thinkingbottle.com, or if that doesn't work, send me one at baumiforhire.com, or baumiforhire@gmail.com. There we go. Or you can send just send me a message on Discord or just whatever. Send me a carrier pitch. I don't care. That's just get in touch with me, all right? And then we can talk. But let's move on to the more fun stuff. So, to the art. Well, we have developed over the past month, actually more over the past 2 months, we have developed our art style, as well as the process for developing this, for developing our art. And the idea there was really to create something that is both kind of unique, but also manageable, right? Something that we can do given the time. And given our resources. And well, with that, we have begun the artwork after we have then, developed that art style and figured out what are good processes for making sure we get enough done. So here is one of the kind of like processes you can see in a little bit of the artwork we have done. So this is done by Isa. This is how Isa likes to do things. I just want to give you a little bit of an insight into this. What she likes to do first is she kind of like makes some sketches, or like some sketches here, where she lays out some different ideas of okay, cool, you know what might be a good idea for this card, for this character. Then we have a more rough one, then some color in there, and then finally the final product. And I think it looks really, really good. And I personally am very happy with this one. Just to show you a little bit more of the artwork, this right here is for a card that's currently called Blue Crest Villager. Although the cards are actually, they're still, the card names are still work in progress. But I'll just give you the names as they are right now. But this is for a card that's called Blue Crest Villager. Then we have the Paragon Recruit, which is, kind of like an inexperienced warrior kind of thing. And then right here for the Rich Patron, which is another card. So these are kind of like the, some of the pieces that we have worked on. We already have more. As you can see, here's just some more sketches for various other things that we are currently working on and exploring more. So this right here would be, this is currently called Priest of the Church, and this is a contemplative. But as you can see, this is kind of our art style, and this is what we're going for. What we are really putting a lot of emphasis on with the art style is we want to make sure that it's unique. And also, it's got a lot of variety on there. We want to make sure that there's, I guess, a lot of diversity, something that I value a lot and I think is very good. And you can see that I think we're already making good strides there. And then also, our art style, we want kind of like to go for more of like a little bit like of a mystical vibe a little bit. So you can see this is the only character that we have seen so far that's actually doing some magic. And I think you can see that it looks really cool. Now, of course, we also have 3D art that we're working on. Now, we have so far developed the card frame, which is something that we're of course going to need, and also created various assets for the board. So this right here is what you can expect from the card frame. Let me go ahead and just remove myself really quick so you can see it a little bit better. But this is what you can expect here. This is what our cards will end up looking like. Of course, in client, they will end up, like it will, I don't know, it will have a little bit of a different flair to it. Now, let me see. Chives, we were hoping to get a card in engine for this update. Have we managed to do that? But yeah, so this is what it currently looks like. Resembles Hearthstone a lot. I really don't understand where that would be coming from. These cards, if you compare them to other card games, actually look very different. So, but yeah, we've got ourselves, this is kind of like the current frame. Then we have some board assets. This is something that, is a little bit just kind of, it's just some things to put on the board, right? Where we've got some little mushrooms here and like a little pebble and some candles and almost that. So, yeah, that's kind of the thing. This is where I would have liked to put like a full artwork, like a full card there, but sadly we didn't quite manage to get that done. We were trying to rush that out as quickly as possible, but that's all right. I'll show you guys next time. For now, we've got also UI design. So that's another big thing that we've been working on. We want to make sure that the game has good UI. To me, card games are free things that are very absolutely crucial to making sure the game is good. You need good UI, you need good art, and then of course you need good gameplay. Although I do think it goes in that order, but the UI is the most important thing, then the art, then the gameplay. Although the gap isn't massive. So, of course, we've been working on the UI. In fact, we have had a UI designer working with us specifically, to like make sure that our game has a good interface. Our UI designer Mustafa has designed the board, designed the menu UI, designed the deck builder. Now, I'm not gonna go into all of the details for that because frankly, it's not that interesting, and also it's a lot. It's a lot. But I just wanted to kind of like show you like what these kind of interface designs look like. Then this right here is our board. So this is what we've also been working on. And this is where I will in fact accept if somebody wants to come in and say it looks like Hearthstone, and I say sure, but that's okay. Because honestly, it's the game board, and there's still a lot you can do with it, to play with it. So you can see we've got a kind of like more of like a foresty, mystical, magical vibe going on. There's all of the different elements you need. There's your hand of cards here. We've got your deck. There's a graveyard, and yes, there will be graveyard interaction, all of that stuff. And so this is just kind of like our current concept art for the board. Then let's move on to game design and playtesting. So that's, of course, my thing. That's what I've been doing. Well, over the past month, I've made 3 different major iterations of our prototype, meaning that I have done significant changes to so first I created a prototype, and then I've done significant changes to the prototype 3 times, where, now we are at prototype 6. And honestly, I feel really, really good about it. So one of the big changes I've done, though, is that originally for the Kickstarter, we were planning to have a version of the card with 120 cards ready. So people can play with that, just like as a smaller version, as a demo version, before they put any money in. Now we have decided, or I have decided, to bump that up to 160. 120 turned out to just be a little bit too little. Like with 120, the game felt like you didn't really have that much choice with deck building. And what deck building really was me, the designer, giving you a deck to play with, which is not really what I want from the game. I want the game to feel like one of the big strengths of the core mechanics of the game is deck building. I wanted to make sure that you can feel that even in the demo version. So we have expanded that scope a little bit and pushed it to 160 cards, which should be possible. Then we have I spent a lot of time trying to develop the unique mechanics of the factions within each of the 4 colors. The game has 4 different colors. There's a color system. No, there's no lands, and that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not going to push. Not going to go into any more detail there. But there are kind of like 4 factions, one of each of the color, that are the whole kind of like heart and soul of that color. And I wanted to make sure that they all have unique mechanics, and I've been developing those, and honestly I think they are looking pretty good. Then finally, this is the really big point, is that the game from kind of like game design perspective is that in my opinion, in a shape that is good enough to move on from tabletop simulator testing. So up to this point, all of the testing we have done was still on tabletop simulator. Tabletop simulator is a great tool for that, but it's also really, really annoying because the game is really meant for digital. And when you're playing it on tabletop simulator, you can really tell that it is actually meant for digital. So what I've now done is we have decided that we are now going to be moving on from tabletop simulator to an actual client. We're going to be importing the cards into an actual client. But I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Then, of course, for lore and writing, this is something that I sadly can't tell you that much about it because that would just be spoilers. But one of the things that we are paying a lot of attention to is I want to make sure we have a good artistic style while creating our cards, or like while naming our cards. And that sounds like it's not really that big of a deal because like, whatever, just give them a name. But I think it's actually a lot more complicated than that, and you want to make sure that the cards have interesting names. You want to make sure that they are appealing and like the cards convey information and tell you a little bit about the world. And so that's kind of something where we are putting a lot of effort into and something we are currently working on. And then also we are kind of exploring the world, exploring the lore that we have built to, find good things that we can do with it to put it on cards. Now, this again, I sadly I can't tell you too much about in terms of details because that would just spoil things and I don't want to do it. But just know that we're working on it. Then, in terms of development. So, last time I showed you our current client. We were largely using a toolkit from the Unreal Store. And, that's what they are for. And that toolkit was very helpful. But after looking into it a little bit more, we kind of came to the conclusion that the toolkit had a lot of kind of minor problems. So what we have done over the past month is we have actually reworked pretty much all of the toolkit, kind of like recreated it from scratch, only continuing to use the assets. And then we have done some basic implementation of the core gameplay mechanics, as well as we are currently working on the card implementation, right? So as I mentioned earlier, we are now ready to move on from Tabletop Simulator into an actual client with the game. And I kind of wanted to wait with that at first, that's why we didn't do it immediately, because I didn't want to, spend a lot of effort on putting something in that then I will have to change everything about it. That's why I did some iterations first, and now we're at a stage where I feel comfortable enough that putting in that time and effort isn't gonna be wasted. Then, of course, also UI development. So this is where I kind of want to show you what we currently have in terms of our client. I'm kind of just starting it up really quick. Let me go ahead and scoot it over here. Well, 1 second. Takes a moment. All right, there we are. So this is our cute little client. It's not super pretty yet, of course. Please keep in mind this is, this is not even an alpha. This is development. This is very, very early. We're just kind of doing some general stuff. But as you can see that just even visually, the client has already changed a lot. And one of the things you can find down here, by the way, is Steam integration. That already works perfectly fine, although it looks a little bit funny. And yeah, you can kind of see our new UI here. We've got our deck builder where you can kind of click on stuff. You can actually build decks, although it is a little bit funny at times. We've got our store here. And then one thing that by the way, do you hear the music? Yeah. So we'll spend a little bit of time in here just so we can hear the music. But one thing that you can see, or there was one thing that we kind of actually spent a pretty long time on, is we wanted to make sure that wherever the play button is, you can very quickly go and play a game. So the way this will work is you click play, and then you can immediately click Q. So you can just double click it. But when you click play, this right here opens up. You can select which game mode you want to play. If you want to play casual, if you want to play ranked, you get this additional information. You just select your game mode, right? So ranked, best of 1. Cool, I have selected that now. And now the game remembers that. And then I can just click play and then immediately click Q. I can just double click it and instantly go into the next game if I want to. You can very easily kind of go in here and change your deck. Right, so changing decks while in the main menu while trying to find games is going to be super quick. I don't know if you can currently click on this, but you will be able to also click on his face to change your deck very easily. But yeah, this is one of the things we've been working on. We can load in, although it is a little bit messy. It is still a fully playable game. In fact, also, by the way. Yes! I like Dark Souls. Stop hating on me. I did name this development card Ashenmon, alright? Chill. But yeah, so this is just kind of, some stuff here, but you can see that we are putting our cards in, but these cards are not, they're not properly functional yet, so we're not gonna spend too much time on this. Anyway, I wanted to show you our build, and that's our current build. I'm pretty happy with it. You could also hear our music kind of playing in the background a little bit, which I'm also very happy with. And yeah. So that's our current build. I hope that's kind of interesting. Hope that's kind of cool. So next up, we got ourselves sounds and music. So as we just showed you, we have main menu music, we have deck builder music. That's gonna be a thing, and then also just kind of like ambience, atmospheric sounds, cards, sound effects, all of that stuff the work has begun on, and we're now just we're doing that. Although, in terms of sound and music, most of the past month has really been spent on having that like kind of like main theme, having that background music. In case you think that main theme wasn't really like, oh man, like it wasn't like, it didn't catch me, oh my god. Like the idea of it is really for it to just build like this really soft, mellow atmosphere. And yeah. So, going forward, well, what are our plans going forward? Well, first, next month, we want to make sure that the current gameplay prototype is going to be in the client, and then we can start playtesting in the client. It's going to make everything easier. It's going to make it feel like it's an actual, like, proper, unique game, and it's going to just feel a lot better, right? I'm really looking forward to that personally, and that's something that we want to do. Then we want to, we need to make cards. Like, I don't know what to say about that. It's just like cards, right? Like, I have to design cards. We have to balance cards. We have to write names for the cards. We have to write lore for the cards. We have to make art for the cards. Just cards. So that's just it. It's a card game. We're gonna need to deal with cards. We gotta do cards. Then next, we need to also start preparing the Kickstarter. And yeah, it's gonna be October. And as I mentioned, ideally, I want to make sure the Kickstarter is in April. But we gotta get started on the Kickstarter. Like, that's just it. That's the plan. We gotta get started on the Kickstarter. You really can't start too soon on that. So that's something I also want to start doing. And then, of course, we need to find more investors. That's not necessarily a must, to be completely honest. In terms of money, we're actually probably looking pretty solid, but like having a bit of a backup, having something that I can kind of play with, and maybe do some neat stuff with, I guess, would be pretty fantastic. So again, in that note, if if you watched the previous video, if you watched this one, and you're interested in the game, you're interested in contributing to the game, when I'm talking about investors, I'm even happy to take on small sums of money. I'm talking about sums in the amount to like 8,000 to 10,000 euros, nothing too crazy. Yeah, just kind of like reach out to me and we can discuss then. All right. If you do want to reach out to me, you can find me at baumi@thinkingbottle.com. And that's pretty much it. So I guess that's that. So I want to kind of like see if chat has any questions about this. And if chat doesn't have any questions, then I think we can move on. What colors will be in Chroma? So far, I guess green and blue. We have green, blue, red, and purple. Yes, we have purple. I like purple a lot. How will the translations be handled? I actually, we made a connection at the Gamescom with a company. I forgot their name right now, but for the Kickstarter, we're planning to have translations. We're going to do everything in English. So English is, of course, going to be the base language. But I do want to already, for the Kickstarter launch, with translations of the game into Russian and into Korean. That's the two languages I want to start with. And then this is something where if we have more money, then that would be great. Then we can do more languages. But for now, I want to do Russian and Korean. Strange, I was expecting Chinese. The Chinese market is very, very difficult to break into. And just as simple as Chinese translation is not going to be good enough. I would rather be focusing on a market that is very big into card games that is easier to break into, which is Korean. However, again, Chinese is something that I would like to do. It's just, first of all, it's expensive to translate into Chinese. And secondly, I guess that's really the one reason. I guess that's it. It's just it's expensive to translate into Chinese. So I'm prioritizing the two languages, I think, with the most realistic markets for us to get into without having a big publisher or a big name behind us, which are, to me, Russian and Korean. So, any other question, or I think... Can the community provide translations? No. Everything will have to be done professionally. I am not willing to compromise on quality in any aspect of this. It all needs to be perfect. So, yes. All right, I can see there's no more colorblind mode. I would like to have a colorblind mode, but to be honest, I don't think it will really be necessary. I think like we're actually keeping colorblindness in mind. Fun fact, okay, this is gonna sound crazy, but my art director is colorblind. I know. Blew my mind too. I didn't know that until after he had already made a bunch of art. You know, like I didn't know that he was colorblind until I had been working with him for months, and you know, like it never occurred to me. But no, my art director is actually colorblind. We're keeping colorblindness in mind. We want to make sure that, you know, like that is something that's accounted for. And yeah. Anyway, so that's that. I hope you guys are gonna stick with us. I hope you guys are excited for Chroma. Hopefully next month we can show you some gameplay. Although if not, please be patient with us, right? There's definitely a chance that we might not quite be ready then, and I do not want to rush things. Again, I gotta be perfect. I want to go high quality on everything. And yeah, again, if you want to participate, reach out to me, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.